June 12, 1994, Los Angeles. A warm Sunday evening that would soon become one of the darkest nights in modern American history. The quiet streets of Brentwood were lit by the soft orange glow of street lamps. Families slept. The city exhaled after another day of sun and smog. But at 8075 South Bundy Drive, a nightmare was unfolding. One that would change the way America looked at fame, race, justice, and truth forever. It began with silence, then the barking of a dog. A restless Akita wandering confused, its paws sticky with something dark. When neighbors finally followed the animal, they found what the city would soon call a scene of pure horror. Outside the modest condominium of Nicole Brown Simpson lay two bodies. Nicole, the ex-wife of one of America's most beloved athletes, and Ron Goldman, a 25-year-old restaurant worker. Both had been brutally murdered. The blood on the walkway glistened under the dim light, a grotesque trail of violence. The news broke before dawn, spreading like wildfire through Los Angeles. By sunrise, the media had descended, and by afternoon, the name on every reporter's lips was one no one expected. O.J. Simpson, football legend, movie star, American hero. To millions, O.J. was a symbol of charm, success, and crossover fame. But to detectives standing over Nicole's body, his name was no longer just a headline. It was a lead. The story of O.J. Simpson began decades earlier, far from the polished luxury of Brentwood. Born in the projects of San Francisco, O.J. grew up in poverty. As a child, he suffered from rickets. His legs bowed, his spirit restless. But from a young age, he had a smile that could melt any room and a natural ability that couldn't be ignored. At the University of Southern California, he became a legend, winning the Heisman Trophy and turning every stadium into a theater of awe. By the 1970s, the Juice was not just a football player. He was an icon. Commercials, movies, endorsements. He was one of the first black athletes embraced by mainstream America, a man who seemed to transcend race in an era still haunted by segregation. In 1977, he met Nicole Brown, a young, beautiful waitress working at a Beverly Hills nightclub. She was 18. He was 30. Their chemistry was instant. Their world glamorous, intoxicating, and public. To outsiders, they were the picture of perfection, the NFL superstar, and the blonde Californian beauty. But behind closed doors, the story was darker. Police were called to their home multiple times. Neighbors heard screams, glass breaking, the sounds of rage. Nicole once wrote in her diary that she feared he would kill her someday. Still, she stayed. The cycle of charm, apology, and control continued, until she finally left. By 1992, the marriage had ended, but O.J.'s obsession hadn't. He called her constantly, appeared unannounced, and watched from the shadows. Nicole tried to move on, but the past had claws. And so, when she was found murdered 2 years later, detectives knew where to look first. O.J. claimed he was at home asleep, preparing for an early flight to Chicago. But the evidence said otherwise. There was blood in his driveway, on his Bronco, and even in his house. A bloody glove found behind Nicole's home had a match. Another glove discovered at O.J.'s estate. Each drop of blood, each fiber, each footprint began to draw a chilling picture. But O.J. Simpson wasn't just any suspect. He was beloved, powerful, rich, and famous. The police couldn't simply arrest him without the world watching. On June 17, 1994, 5 days after the murders, they planned to take him into custody. But O.J. was gone. The country froze. Television networks broke from regular programming. A white Ford Bronco, driven by O.J.'s friend Al Cowlings, slowly rolled down the California freeways. Inside, O.J. in the back seat, a gun to his head, threatening to end his life. Police cars followed cautiously. Helicopters circled above, and 95 million Americans tuned in. The chase wasn't fast. It wasn't violent, but it was hypnotic. Like watching a national illusion unravel in real time. The man everyone once adored was now a fugitive. After hours of tension, O.J. finally surrendered at his Brentwood home. Inside the vehicle, police found his passport, a disguise and $8,750 in cash. The world now had its villain, or its scapegoat, depending on who you asked. The trial began in January 9. It would become known as the trial of the century. Cameras rolled. Reporters packed the courtroom. Late-night talk shows made jokes. News anchors turned gossip into gospel. Every day, America tuned in, not for justice, but for spectacle. The prosecution believed the case was airtight. DNA evidence, still a relatively new science, placed O.J. at the scene. Blood from both victims was found in his car. The glove matched. The motive was clear: jealousy and rage. But the defense had other plans. Led by Johnny Cochran, Robert Shapiro, F. Lee Bailey, and Robert Kardashian, they called themselves the Dream Team, and they were determined not to prove O.J. innocent, but to make the jury doubt the system that accused him. The defense claimed O.J. was framed by a racist police department. They attacked Detective Mark Fuhrman, the man who discovered the glove, exposing his history of using racial slurs. Overnight, the trial shifted from murder to racial warfare. Black America, still reeling from the Rodney King beating and years of police brutality, saw O.J. as a symbol, a man being crushed by a corrupt institution. White America saw a privileged celebrity using his fame to escape accountability. Then came the moment that defined it all. In front of the jury, O.J. was asked to try on the glove found at the crime scene. As cameras flashed, he struggled. The glove appeared tight. It didn't fit, and that was all Johnny Cochran needed. His voice echoed through the courtroom and across television screens worldwide. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. It became a mantra, a spell that erased logic with rhythm. 9 months of testimony, countless pieces of evidence, and endless media coverage, all distilled into one unforgettable line. On October 3, 1995, the jury returned after less than 4 hours of deliberation. The verdict was broadcast live. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty. Outside the courthouse, cheers erupted. Inside, the prosecution sat in disbelief. Across America, the reactions were split. Celebration in some communities, outrage in others. The country hadn't just watched a trial. It had watched a mirror held up to its divisions. O.J. walked free, but freedom came with a cost. His reputation, once golden, was now stained forever. He became a symbol of how fame, race, and justice could collide and fracture a nation. In 1997, a civil court found him liable for the wrongful deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, ordering him to pay $303.5 million and lived in shadows, occasionally surfacing in interviews, chasing the ghost of his former self. In 2007, he was arrested again, this time in Las Vegas, for armed robbery and kidnapping. Convicted, he served 9 years in prison before being released in decades later. The debate still lingers. Was O.J. Simpson a murderer who got away with it, or a victim of a system eager to crucify him? The truth lies somewhere between evidence and emotion, between what we saw and what we wanted to believe. In the end, the O.J. Simpson case was more than a crime story. It was a national reckoning, a collision between celebrity culture, racial tension, and the spectacle of American media. The trial didn't just reveal who O.J. Simpson was. It revealed who America was in 1995, and who it still is today. Because justice, like fame, is fragile, and sometimes the truth isn't what sets us free. It's what keeps us haunted.